is over 50-year-old. According to reports, there were visible signs of joy across the various parts of Syria, with many displaying victory signs and happy expressions, symbolizing their sense of liberation. Marketplaces, which had been affected by years of turmoil, began to show signs of life, bustling with activity with trade once again. Employees who had previously been displaced or affected by the long-standing conflict were seen returning to work, contributing to the revitalization of the economy. The fall of al-Assad's regime marked the beginning of what many viewed as a new era for Syria, one that held the promise of peace, stability and progress following years of political oppression and conflict.
سريع سريع حاجة دور حر سوريا حرة عبية الله أكبر الله أكبر وعزة لله. On December 11th, one of many signs of Syria's critical economic problems, as the new interim Prime Minister Mohammed al-Bashir
said he wanted to bring back the millions of Syrian refugees and provide the basic services, but would struggle without foreign currency. But rebuilding Syria will be a colossal task following a civil war that killed hundreds of thousands of people.
Long queues form at a Damascus bakery on Wednesday, one of many signs of Syria's critical economic problems. As the new interim Prime Minister Mohammed al-Bashir said he wanted to bring back millions of Syrian refugees and provide basic services, but would struggle to without foreign currency. Syria's coffers contain only local pounds worth barely anything, Bashir told Italian newspaper Il Corriere della Sera. Bashir ran a rebel-led government in a tiny pocket of northwestern Syria before the 12-day rebel offensive toppled President Bashar al-Assad. In the capital, banks have reopened, as have shops, and there are fewer armed men about. But rebuilding Syria will be a colossal task, following a civil war that killed hundreds of thousands of people. Abu Abid Nasruddin is a merchant in Damascus.
Activity is very good, but the problem we are facing is the currency we deal with. Some people, all of those coming here from Idlib region, Aleppo and their outskirts, brought Turkish lira or dollars with them, but we don't know how to exchange them, so work has become very slow.
International sanctions on the Assad regime have also gutted the economy. Two senior US congressmen, a Republican and a Democrat, wrote a letter calling for Washington to suspend some sanctions on Syria. The most punishing ones are up for renewal this month, and the former rebels have told Reuters they are in touch with Washington about potentially easing them. Bassel Hamwi, head of the Damascus Chambers of Commerce, told Reuters the new government has told business leaders it will adopt a free market model after decades of state control and integrate Syria into the global financial system.
Situation in Syria remains a focal point for all other nations after Syrian rebels toppled Assad's regime, taking advantage of turmoil in Syria. IDF tightened grip on Golan Heights at Israel-Syrian border in a recently released video by IDF on December 11th. Footage showed Israeli troops operations in a buffer zone near the Golan Heights. The Israeli forces called it a bid to protect the residents of the Golan Heights and all Israeli civilians. Amid the release of new video, Israel denied on December 10th advancing into Syria beyond Golan Heights buffer zone.
Can you please stop? זה כולל גם את פסקת...
The US President-elect Donald Trump invited Chinese President Xi Jinping to attend his inauguration next month. The international media reported on December 11, citing multiple sources. The invitation on the January 20th event occurred in early November, shortly after the results. However, it was not clear if this has been accepted. However, Xi congratulated Trump on winning the election, but the answer to whether Beijing has accepted the invitation is still awaited. The Chinese embassy in Washington did not immediately respond to the request for comment on the acceptance of the invitation. Trump, in an interview with NBC News on December 6, said that he got along very well with Xi and that they had communication.
during his first presidency no longer exist, says Reuters correspondent Lee Sullivan. He will face far fewer limits on his
These are all voices. Easy voice. You okay? Stop.
National effort to rebuild our country. How good and pleasant it is when God we the
President Vladimir Putin said on December 11 that Russia would develop artificial intelligence with BRICS partners and other countries in a bid to challenge the dominance of the United States in one of the most disruptive technologies of 21st century. Speaking at Russia's flagship AI conference, Putin said that new artificial intelligence alliance network would include national associates and development institutes in the field of AI from BRICS countries and other interested states.
готова содействовать созданию и применению генеративных моделей не только на русском, но и на других языках. Алгоритмы таких систем, как уже говорил, должны быть доверенными, то есть понятными, открытыми и непредвзятыми. Разрабатываться с учетом культурных, национальных особенностей каждой цивилизации с ее историей, идентичностью и традициям, к которым мы в России относимся с глубоким уважением. Уверен, что серьезный импульс такому сотрудничеству придаст Международный альянс национальных ассоциаций и институтов развития в сфере искусственного интеллекта стран БРИКС, других заинтересованных государств. Старт работе такого альянса дадим уже сегодня, насколько я понимаю, на конференции «Путешествие в мир искусственного интеллекта». Рассчитываю, что к этому мероприятию будут присоединяться и новые иностранные участники, в том числе и мои коллеги, первые лица государства.
Hundreds of farmers along with their tractors carried out massive protest on streets of London on December 11th. The protest was carried out against government after it ended an exemption from inheritance tax for agricultural families. During the protest, hundreds of tractors blocked streets in central London and was rallied beside Westminster. The tax policy was introduced by the government to boost funds to pay for the strained public services, but farmers say it will destroy family farms and reduce food production. The passing down of farms through generations was previously tax-free, but in October, the government said farmers would be subjected to tax from 2026.
No farmers, no food.
No farmers! No farmers! No farmers! No farmers! No farmers! No farmers!
No farmers, no food.
I know, but it does.
It's not really about the inheritance tax for me. It's more about the fact that for the last God knows how many years they've been making it harder and harder for us to farm. And you know, we produce everyone's food. Without us, everything's going to be a hell of a lot more expensive because it'll be brought in from another country. But they don't seem to understand. And year on year we get more legislation, more taxes, and it's just harder and harder to turn a profit.
We're here to save my dad's farm. So yes, yeah, because if this all goes through, my dad's quite elderly as well. We're probably not going to have time to leave it to my brother, and my brother's actually helped my dad pay for the farm. So yeah, no, it's
And we've
not.
all worked on it all our lives,
We all
all our
work
lives,
on
and
the
our
farm.
children.
Yeah.
And we want something for the future.
Yeah. We're a farming nation, aren't we? So my son's actually at university doing sustainable agriculture, you know, and I feel, will there be a future for him? So,
We're not going to be able to feed ourselves soon, and it's just going to be ridiculous. Isn't it?
It is going to be bad.
No farmers, no food.
No farmers!
Defense Secretary Lloyd Austin on December 11th visited Camp Asaka, a Japan ground self-defense force base in Tokyo. This came after China intensified military drills in the East China Sea amid Beijing's conflict with Taiwan. Earlier on December 10th, the U.S. Defense Secretary met Japanese counterpart and reaffirmed the U.S. ironclad deterrence commitment. The statement from Austin came in the face of challenges posed by China in the East China Sea. The Pentagon chief also met Japanese Prime Minister Shigeru Ishiba on Tuesday to discuss regional issues.
Committed to advancing our historic priorities.
Has been described as our pacing challenge. And I describe it as our pacing challenge because the PRC is
within an overwhelming majority of 158 votes in favor, 9 against and 13 absentees. The resolution, which was seen as a symbolic move, was strongly opposed by the United States and Israel. Both countries reject the resolution, emphasizing their stance on the ongoing conflict. The vote highlighted the growing international divide over the situation of Gaza, with the majority of UN member states expressing support for a ceasefire, while the US and Israel stood firm on their position.
The Assembly will now take a decision on draft Resolution A/ES-10/L33 entitled Demand for Ceasefire in Gaza.
The Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES-10/L33 entitled Demand for Ceasefire in Gaza. The voting has been completed.
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor 158, against 9, abstentions 13. The draft resolution A/ES-10 is adopted. The Assembly will now take a decision on draft Resolution A/ES-10/L.32 entitled Support for the Mandate of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East.
The Assembly is now voting on draft resolution A/ES-10/L32 entitled Support for the Mandate of the United Nations Relief and Works Agency for Palestine Refugees in the Near East. Will all delegations confirm that the votes are accurately reflected on the screen, the machine?
The result of the vote is as follows. In favor, 159. Against, 9. Abstentions, 11. Draft Resolution A/ES-10/L32 is adopted.
The messages we send to the world through these resolutions matter, and both of these resolutions have significant problems.
And that's the end of the bulletin. Keep watching CVR News English.